So remember, always wear proper safety equipment, including good work flip-flops, because you never know, you step in a nail. Very important.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our kitchen. Now, we just bought this house a couple months ago. It is a nearly 90-year-old house built in 1929. And as you can see, we've kind of started some of the demolition work to the room. We've got kitchen cabinets coming up here in about 3 weeks. We've got new appliances on order. They'll be here in about 3 weeks. We've got this lovely floor that needs to be ripped out. Lovely molding needs to be ripped out. As you can see, the electrical is a little dated. Beautiful old light fixtures that need to come out. And as you could probably see from the pictures I'll show a little bit later here, we found some interesting stuff. So there was what looked to me like Prairie Home Companion, Little House on the Prairie, whatever you want to call it, meets some sort of cheesy 80s sitcom, meets Star Trek The Next Generation. So we've got our work cut out for us. Being 90 years old, there's always fun stuff hidden in here. We took out these cabinets. There was a cabinet here, very similar to this, with this lovely garage door opening thing with this homemade Lazy Susan. We ripped that out, ripped out another cabinet, ripped out a bunch of wallpaper, found this fun little treat here for us, covered in drywall mud. This was completely covered in drywall mud. Electrical boxes. I think this is outdoor rated wire, I'm not sure. Either way, it's coming out. There was an old, as you can see, these little triangular shapes here, kind of an old range hood built into the house originally. Had all the lath and plaster and some screening behind it. We've ripped that out, put up some drywall, and one of the jobs today is going to be to cover that up and make it all nice and flush with the ceiling. There was probably about 28 feet of fluorescent light fixtures hanging around in a square pattern. Everything was screwed in with mechanical drywall screws, not wood drywall screws, so it really did a number on the ceiling. As you can see from all these little holes here. And the 4x8 panel, there was a white shiny panel up here. This light was where a ceiling fan used to be, was glued with construction adhesive to the ceiling. So when I tore that down, some of the panel came down, some of the plaster came down. There is the microwave vent hood that didn't go straight up, but it went to actually over here about where the old stove vent was. That's still up in the attic. We'll get there eventually. But I got to reroute this because we're putting in a new microwave here for a range hood. That's going to go up straight up. And we had this fun little, what is this, about a 16-inch tall joist truss thing that runs across. I didn't think it was structural. It's definitely not load bearing or anything, but when I went up in the attic and cleaned out the insulation and vacuumed all that out, I found out that there are 2x4 joists in the attic running north-south this way, and they meet up with other 2x4 joists running over to this wall, which is load bearing, and they meet up right here. So what I did was I went up there and I got some 5/8" lags and put 2 in each one where they join together. Originally thought that that might be enough to keep them together, but I like to overdo things. So I'm gonna get some plywood and cut out a bunch of strips and sister one on either side of where those 2x4s meet and put the lag bolts back in, just to be on the safe side. So yeah, we got that fun. The other project for today is to take this whole thing down. So I'm going to take it down to the 2x4 that runs up against the ceiling here, and then get rid of that, patch that, maybe get rid of this old intercom system here, because like I said, we got new cabinets coming in about 3 weeks, and I need to get this crap out of here, get it patched up, and we got all sorts of fun stuff I find every time I take something out, such as this beautiful little hole, which I can only assume was to route that wire down to some of the outlets. Now, to meet code, we've got to have an outlet every 24 inches. And that'll be interesting. I'm probably going to have to run each and every one of those from the attic. We'll get to that, but for now, sit back and enjoy the demolition of this lovely joist.
So, you can see I'm wearing a respirator. If you take a look at this molding, I want to keep this. But you can see it's got like 400 layers of paint on it. And since this house was built almost 90 years ago, chances are good that there's lead in here. So I'm not going to screw around with that. But I do want to keep this. Anyway. I think I need to go get my man-sized crowbar. Be right back. That's better. You okay in there?
As I mentioned before, we find some fun stuff. So there's this hole in the wall that looks like it's completely empty all the way over these old built-in original cabinets. We may find something fun to do with that yet, but for now I gotta cut this screen off and reinforce those joists in the attic. We'll pull this 2x4 down, put some drywall in there, mud it up. You'll never know it was there. But first, we got some stuff on the floor. Let's clean that up.